Alex Answer here, coming to you from the RV. I don't even know where to begin with addressing what I believe to be the insanity of the flat earth hysteria that has been taking people's minds on the internet by storm. And I first started making videos on YouTube a couple years ago about this explosion in conspiracy, fake news, and trash, which takes away from the real things that are going on. So we see different variants of fake news out there. Even the stories of rape in Europe have been exaggerated. There's actually a story that I just posted today about a young girl made a claim about being raped by migrants, and it was completely fabricated. She's actually in a mental institution at the moment. Doesn't mean that there aren't certain things taking place, certain crimes, certain rapes, certain conspiracies, certain plots, certain agendas. But there's a reason why so much of this stuff is so grossly exaggerated. So enter the flat earth. And enter the cast of characters, a very interesting cast of characters, mind you, that have been the pioneers of this flat earth theory. Of course, oh no, we don't have to look at the ancients and anything that they wrote about it with any respect or reverence. Oh no, all that information that was left behind by those that came before us that have come up with other amazing understandings of things, like the Mayans or the ancient Greece. Oh no, all that was a lie. There's no doubt there's a lot of lies, especially within civilizations and relating to the nature of reality. That we know. That we know. For someone like me, who has spent more than a little bit of time studying the sun and the sunspot cycles and how they affect human consciousness, the focus should stabilize now. I mean, there's something to that, these solar epochs, and its connection to the evolution of mankind and the changes that it brings our planet, from earthquakes to more wars, civil unrest, protests. We see people less apathetic when there's more solar activity. I mean, that stuff is real. And so, you have people acting in a passive-aggressive way because they claim they have the truth that the earth is flat, simply because NASA lies about some things. We're to blame NASA for lying to us about the earth being round. The logic in this is highly flawed on so many different fronts. So you have some of the pioneers of the flat earth theory, like Eric Dubai, and he's reached out to me in the past wanting to do something on the flat earth. I mean, I thought it was kind of like a joke, like this is like some crank Facebook text message. No, the guy was serious. The guy was trolling for people to help him catapult this idea out there. Now, what is his agenda or other people? I can't speak for him. I can't say that I believe this is absolutely insane. And it shows how gullible people can be when there is like a meme that's going around and you have a collective number of minds that are latching onto it. So they latch onto one understanding. NASA lies to us about stuff. Maybe we didn't land on the moon, or maybe the moon landing story, what really happened, isn't what they told us what happened. You know, stuff like that. And then you go off into some bizarre areas. There's other things that I've noticed out there. I'm not going to mention names. There's a certain person out there that claims he's time traveled and that he's seen himself as the president in the year 2016. He talks about going to Mars and being in Project Pegasus. And then I look at the people that have promoted his nonsense bullshit, and I'm like, oh my God, I thought she would know better. You know, then no one's perfect. I'm not perfect. You're not perfect. I'm not expecting any of us to be perfect. I don't like anyone to expect me to be perfect. But going off into like a trailed thought that goes to nowhere and leads to nowhere about going to Planet Pop Tart and being teleported with no evidence to back up your claims. Then other people co-signing your bullshit like, oh, it sounds good. Yeah, it sounds like he's time traveled and seen himself as elected in 2016 with Jesse Ventura as the vice president because, well, there was a shift in consciousness in 2016, you see? And they saw this a couple years ago. Of course, because they time traveled forward and backward, and we got to watch Back to the Future to get an idea of how the science of this works. It's actually insane. It's insane. And I just shook my head, and it really hit me. Like, this person is absolutely fucking cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. If they're making these allegations that someone tried to take him to Mars, that they've been like, I think there's going on stuff in Mars. I don't believe this guy's been to Mars. Who says he's going to be president in 2016? I mean, do you make this stuff up? Or is this literally is where some people's consciousness is right now? That they're channeling alien archonic beings, maybe. Not if they're tapped into their true self. Something's wrong with this picture. So you have the flat earth, the flat earth. And the flat earth stuff is parallel and all this other conspiracy stuff. You know, so you have like, it's absorbing people that are already on the fringe. And remember, we're in a world where, you know, Dallas Goldbug was a trending topic a couple years ago. Oh, this person's this person, you see? Now, some of you don't know what I'm talking about. There was this whole mental illness movement, and I actually met someone that literally was this mentally ill, who was screaming at me that Luke Kradowski was like somebody else. Or, so it was ridiculous. It was many years ago that I saw Dallas Goldbug had said I was Mark Dice, and we're like at least a foot apart. What an insult. How dare he insult me like that? But that aside, and then other weirdos were like, hey, have you ever met Dallas Goldbug when I was living in Dallas? Like, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I remember there was a number of stupid questions in 2012. Hey, Alex, have you ever met Dallas Goldbug? It's like, because I'm in Dallas. You really think that maybe I would be hanging out with Dallas Goldbug. Thank you. Thanks a lot. Thank you. We've been inundated also with this is a hoax. That's a hoax. This person's an actor. That's an actor. And it really discredits situations where there really are crisis actors. You know, when you really do have suspicious things taking place. It discredits it. All this Dallas Goldbug, mumbo jumbo, garbly goo. Believe it or not, that actually developed a fan base. So I'm taking you through different... oh, I don't know, really like, oh, fads that people don't want to remember, like you like talk about music in the 80s. Music. You love it, you love to listen to, but hate to admit it was like a slogan on a 80s radio station back east. It's like that with conspiracy theories. What if people had a look at all the crap that they believed in? That was absolute bullshit. Especially in terms of predictions, which most of it's been. And there's also a lot of false perceptions of where the New World Order is coming from, really. And so now you have this flat earth hypothesis that takes you nowhere. It's one thing to really investigate and really question the Matrix and who we are. The holographic reality, if you choose to call it that, you don't have to. There's an interconnected aspect to all things, though, in ways that we're impacted by light and a real reason why we're here on this earth. There would have been some information if we were on a flat earth left behind. NASA does not control all the world's history and all the writings of all of mankind. We should respect our ancestors and some of the knowledge that was already left behind in the past that society collectively has just chosen not to listen to. It's chosen not to respect nature. It's chosen to rape nature and dominate nature. We have real stuff that we need to look at in relation to how we live. How we treat each other as so-called truthers. Someone can act like, you know, they're speaking a whole lot of truth, but also spread a lot of misery. Mark Passio thinks you're a pussy if you're not on board the Burns, Oregon Psyops. Actually, I had a few things to say about it this week on Facebook. More insanity. Another person, obviously infected by dominator archonic consciousness, even though he claims to speak out against it. We see many of our peers and many people in society in general that have lost their shit. And it is unfortunate that things like this in friendships. I know one particular person used to comment on this channel, and I don't hear from him that often. And I'm sure it has something to do with the fact that some of the things that I've said about the flat earth. It's actually very sad when you see someone stuck in a delusion because a couple people on the internet made a compelling argument or documentary film. It's like taking advantage of people that are starting to see the lies in today's world, in today's matrix. So if you don't want to become the abyss, when you gaze into the abyss, you need to remain grounded and seek to tap into your own truth within your own self. Does it mean that you have to assume that you're, all-knowing and psychic? In fact, a lot of people think they're intuitive or not. But to work on that side of yourself and not to be so gullibly, duped into this YouTube matrix. Eric Dubai put out a video, and I watched it. And I mentioned that he contacted me and tried to pull me into his weird web. Never really bit. I mean, there was just something just strange, first of all, about just the look in his eyes. Everything about him. Everything. Like this fake alien model thing. Like, I don't know who this fucking Eric Dubai is. But I watched one of his last videos where he's showing off that he's into theatrics. And he's doing like a little play of sorts where he's playing a woman. Someone who he is feuding with. Apparently there's a feud within the flat earth community. So he makes a theater about this feud within the flat earth community. You can go ahead and say he's acting all you want. And I'm not homophobic per se. But I haven't seen flaming like that since the late 1990s in Portland, Oregon. And it's like this reflects on the people that are into this stuff. I mean, I could pull it up, but what's the point? He's sitting there wearing nothing but something with something up in his hair like he's some girl. And he's like basically displaying that he's a sex fiend in spirit. And he's playing out this character of wanting to get with this Mike. It's like 10 minutes into the video. So he wants to get with Mike, this person that he's feuding with, who's in the flat earth community. And he's playing a girl. And he's dressed up like a girl. And he's got his hair up. And he is loving that role too much. He is loving that role way too much. So let me conclude here. There are things that I believe are real. And even though things are vibrating and things are only so real, if we could see them and touch them. But I believe there are planets. And there is a sun that is constantly evolving life on this earth with the solar rain and the electromagnetic energy. That is real. What is the moon really? Is it a satellite? Is it the Death Star? Was it put there by the Nephilim? I don't have the answers to these questions. Most of us now know that theory has been hypothesized. When becoming aware of so many lies, be able to ground into your truth. Be able to access your truth. Be able to feel your inner pendulum. I'm not trying to talk super esoteric. It's just coming out as it is. But be able to navigate this matrix with your inner compass. And if someone can have that inner guidance and cultivate it and not squash it by abusing themselves and abusing their consciousness, however means, then they should be able to find the answers within. Not be led down these rabbit holes of delusion that really do nothing but suck the energy of the person that's viewing into that false reality, that false matrix. Got to be able to access your truth. And that is what society has forgotten. So that's all for now. Believe what you want to believe. Is the flat earth hypothesis, whether or not the earth is flat or round, the most important thing? Another question people are asking is, why would they be interested in lying to us about that particular element? There's obviously aspects of the disinformation It's almost like an AI beast. I don't know how it operates within Facebook. You know, I see situations where myself, others were added to a conversation. We never added ourselves to that conversation, and some or group. And it's like we've just been added to this, and someone is throwing lies at us, saying, "Hey, go here. The militia's coming. The militia needs your help." Like weird stuff. Or, as what happened today, after I thought, you know what, maybe I should do a video about this flat Earth hysteria. And I thought about it, and then it happened. Someone added me to a flat Earth group. And then all these people in the group are like, a lot of them are like, I never asked to be added to this group. Who added me to this group? And then I try to click on the profile of the person that added me to the group, and nothing's coming up. It's just leading me back to the group. So there are certain things happening. In terms of fake news, Facebook will make sure that you will see more fake news than the real news. Okay? Because instead of just over censorship, it's just cloud the information superhighway with a bunch of crud and filth that most people won't know how to sift through. And most people will just believe what they're reading. And so that's my message from me to you. We should be questioning the nature of the matrix in ourselves and what we're doing here and what we can do to make the world a better place. This whole flat earth psyops, which is what it is, it's a psychological warfare operation. It's there to capture our energy, take us away from doing the real work that we need to do here on the planet.